They once believed that the deep shadows of your life would ultimately extinguish you, but the remarkable truth is that the darkness didn't conquer your spirit. Instead, it ultimately submitted to it. What no one ever thought to tell you is that your internal radiance was never a delicate thing that needed to be sheltered. It didn't emerge from a life of ease, comfort, or pristine flawlessness. No, your most profound light was forged within the heart of intense personal storms, the kind of crushing environments where mere innocence could never hope to survive on its own. Your being didn't blossom in a serene, untroubled garden of peace. Your essence came from a silent, arduous battlefield, where every single hardship you faced became a sacred initiation into a deeper power. The beings of flawless, untainted radiance, the very angels you hear of, now look upon your journey with an unsettling mix of reverence and a feeling entirely new to them, a palpable sense of awe, perhaps even fear. They are astonished because you accomplished a feat that even the most perfect celestial realm could not conceive of. You chose to walk directly through the deepest shadows, the most terrifying nights, and yet you fiercely refused to be consumed, annihilated, or permanently defined by them. You held the refining fire of intense experience in the very palms of your hands, and you did so without ever allowing it to burn away the core of your authentic soul. You embraced the overwhelming night, not as a cosmic curse or a punishment meant to break you, but deliberately as a profound, potent teacher. And through that deliberate acceptance and navigation, you transformed yourself into something genuinely rare and entirely self-defined, a force of nature that even the most brilliant, untarnished light cannot fully explain or categorize. Your history is not a tragic narrative of spiritual corruption or compromise. On the contrary, this is the magnificent unveiling of divine balance itself, the ultimate, sacred state of being where the shadows become a necessary form of discipline and where the sharp edges of pain evolve into an impenetrable spiritual protection. You stand as living, undeniable proof that the Creator's highest design for you was never about simply staying pure and naive. The true mission was always about the challenging, sacred journey of becoming completely whole. Think of every single scar on your spirit, every healed wound on your heart. They are not signs of failure. They are seals of a powerful initiation. Every last tear you shed during your most difficult moments was essentially a signature, a binding clause on your eternal divine contract. I urge you to stay with this message until the very end, because what we are about to reveal will show you precisely why your shadow has always been your most vigilant guardian, not the adversary you were led to believe. Once you fully grasp this magnificent paradoxical truth, a switch flips. You will never again be afflicted with doubt concerning your innate, incredible power, the clarity of your true purpose, or your rightful, unshakable place among the highest echelons of the divine. If at this moment you feel a deep, resonant vibration inside your chest, a powerful recognition that stirs your very core, understand that this is not a random coincidence. This is your soul being called home. This is recognition. To acknowledge and firmly anchor this potent, transforming energy into your life's current and future, take a moment to hit that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel. If your soul is genuinely beginning its awakening journey to recognize and embrace the colossal being you were truly designed to be. And finally, please go into the comments and type the number 99 below. Why 99? Because the ancient number 99 is the sacred mark of completion, the significant moment just before divine perfection is achieved, the pregnant instant before true spiritual ascension. This is your unmistakable signal that you are now right on the threshold of your greatest transformation. You were not gently molded in some pristine, tranquil paradise. Your character, your fortitude, and your unique frequency were powerfully shaped in collisions, in betrayal that cut deep, in long stretches of oppressive silence, in the crushing weight of rejection, and in nights that stretched on so profoundly and darkly that even the light of heaven felt utterly distant and unreachable. You were the persistent echo that steadfastly refused to die out and vanish into the blackness. You were the internal fire that continued to burn with ferocious integrity, even when everything around you had been reduced to nothing but desolate ash. Every profound heartbreak you endured, every prayer that seemed to vanish unanswered into the ether, Every moment you genuinely thought your journey was irrevocably over. Understand this. Those moments were never punishments from the universe. They were, in fact, an intricate, intense programming. This was the divine, powerful way of meticulously forging a soul that possessed the sheer resilience and depth to withstand challenges that average, ordinary souls could not possibly endure. It was in those crucible moments that you discovered a fundamental truth. Pain is not your enemy. It is your ultimate sculptor. Pain didn't break you. It actively carved you into the rare, balanced individual who can now simultaneously carry both profound, boundless mercy and unyielding righteous might. It was the fire that relentlessly burned away every fragile illusion, every crippling dependency on external forces, every trace of spiritual weakness. And what was left behind, what survived the intense heat of that crucible, was your purest essence, a foundational, undeniable being, unfiltered and fully powerful. You stopped the desperate act of begging the universe for peace and instead started the profound work of embodying it fully yourself. You learned that genuine serenity is not simply the passive absence of chaos or external strife. True, unshakable serenity is the potent inner ability to remain completely unshaken, centered and whole, no matter how furiously the world rages around you. You were constructed and perfected in a fundamental contradiction, and this precisely is your monumental advantage. While others only frantically seek pure, unadulterated light and sometimes lose their way in a naive, one-sided purity, you had the sight to see that the deepest truth only truly exists in contrast. You realized that the Creator strategically hides the profoundest wisdom in both ends of the great spectrum of existence. In the delicate whisper and the mighty crashing thunder, in the absolute silence and the desperate piercing scream, you stopped the exhausting, decades-long habit of running from your deep-seated pain and finally had the courage to turn around and face it directly. And in that very moment, when you faced your shadow with resolve, something ancient, powerful, and utterly awake inside your soul, that pivotal moment was when you truly began to speak the profound language of both realms, the celestial and the earthly, the light and the shadow. You became so finely tuned that you could sense the approach of any darkness, any deceit, long before it even cast a visible shadow. You could feel the intention of manipulation or deception before a single word was ever uttered, because your soul learned the complex codes of existence not from a dusty scripture, but from the raw, undeniable necessity of survival itself. You became fluently versed in the subtle, unseen energies that even the wisest angels only study in theory, but can never truly embody in their perfect, unchallenged state. You don't just faintly sense an approaching danger. You now possess the profound, intricate understanding of its inner workings. You don't merely resist temptation. You can read its script and predict its motives. That is why your entire energy field feels so unpredictable, so profoundly unsettling to both heaven and the abyss. You possess the rare ability to descend into the lowest points without getting permanently lost in them, to rise without succumbing to spiritual arrogance, and to walk through the deepest shadows without ever being permanently claimed by their influence. You do not weakly mimic the darkness. You have learned the far greater art of commanding it, and that singular ability is precisely what genuinely terrifies every single entity. Force and manipulation that once tried with great effort to possess, control, or limit you. Understand that every single scar you carry on your spirit holds invaluable coded instruction. Every tear that ever fell from your eyes has profound encoded data waiting to be accessed. Every deep heartbreak you were sure was going to shatter you into 1,000 pieces was, in fact, secretly rewiring your spiritual perception. It was training you to detect truth through subtle, energetic frequency, rather than being fooled by surface appearances. And this internal upgrade is precisely what makes you genuinely untouchable. You no longer rely on your physical eyes to see the world. You see with an awakened, profound spiritual vision. The difficult forge of duality, of holding contradiction, was never intended to make you superficially perfect. It was always meant to make you absolutely real. Because in a world saturated with people hiding behind flimsy masks of manufactured light and artificial happiness, Your sheer, unapologetic authenticity stands out as the rarest and most powerful form of divinity. And yet, as you stand right now in the profound, centered truth, balanced perfectly between heaven's brilliant radiance and the fathomless depth of the abyss, something monumental begins to stir. A force much older than time is moving, a vast intelligence that recognizes the sheer gravity of your awakening. The very entities that once ruthlessly tested you are now forced to watch you in profound silence, diligently calculating what you have become. They know with certainty, if you made it through this spiritual forge alive and whole, the next thing you are on the brink of discovering will fundamentally change everything they once knew about existence. There came a dramatic point in your journey when you were struck by a revelation. Your much-feared dark side was never truly there to sabotage or ruin you. Its deepest purpose was always to protect you. It patiently waited in the deepest background, like a vigilant, silent guardian, often tragically misunderstood, frequently rejected, but bound to you by a profound, measureless loyalty. It was the fierce, rising force that instantly surfaced every single time someone attempted to cross your most sacred, intimate boundaries. It was the necessary cleansing flame that fiercely burned through subtle manipulation when your light filled. Compassion itself was too gentle or too focused on mercy to fight back effectively. Your shadow didn't secretly hate your light. On the contrary, it heroically shielded it. When a surge of cleansing, righteous rage moved through you, it was never an act of destruction. It was a potent, necessary divine defense. When you intentionally withdrew into a protective silence, it was not an expression of crippling fear. It was a necessary, calculated spiritual strategy. Every single emotion you were once taught to believe was a sinful weakness actually possessed a profound, protective purpose. Every deep shadow impulse that momentarily frightened you was actually a crucial, functional part of your spiritual immune system. The universe knew that pure, unguarded light, without a fierce and vigilant guardianship, would eventually be exploited and devoured in this intensely challenging world. So out of a profound love, it bestowed upon you both the healing tenderness to mend and the sacred protective fire to defend. That is the fundamental reason why your aura is so deeply confusing to those who encounter you. Some people, those of a pure intention, will sense an overwhelming, serene peace when they are in your presence. Yet others, those carrying internal discord or manipulation, will instantly feel the intense heat of a divine authority that profoundly unsettles their internal demons. You are simultaneously a pool of perfectly calm water and a blazing, unavoidable storm. And this powerful duality is not a fundamental flaw. It is, quite literally, a warning label written for the universe in heaven's own language. Do not touch this light unless your intentions are completely pure. You have learned, through brutal lessons, that while forgiveness is a virtue, it does not automatically mean granting unlimited access to your energy. You learned that deep, profound compassion does not, in any way, equate to spiritual submission. You now possess the power to love deeply and unconditionally, and yet, you can still unyieldingly close the gate when necessary. You can stand firmly in the embracing warmth of your own vast empathy, and still, in an instant, unleash the necessary thunder when your most sacred boundaries are violated. Your dark side isn't a state of chaos. It is a profound order with teeth. Most beings of the light recoil from the shadow, operating under the mistaken belief that holiness must inherently mean fragility. But you, through your arduous journey, have learned the higher truth. Holiness means perfect balance. Angels were perfectly taught only how to preserve their untainted purity. You, however, were rigorously taught how to effectively and fiercely protect your purpose. And that high calling absolutely required you to descend deliberately into the very places where light alone could not possibly survive. You walked through spiritual corridors that even the celestial realms avoid. You faced intense, mind-twisting energies that put the very core of your faith to the ultimate test. And instead of being broken or corrupted, you emerged sharper, infinitely wiser, and genuinely unbreakable. The shadow whispered crucial things that the light could never teach. Don't just shine, discern. Don't just forgive, understand. Don't just pray, command. These transformative lessons have irrevocably transformed you into something truly extraordinary. You are now a being who operates far beyond the limiting constraints of simple polarity. You can look directly at the darkest aspects of existence without once flinching, because you have been there, and you returned with your spiritual crown entirely intact. That is precisely why the angels watch you now with such deep reverence and an immense, necessary restraint. You carry within you a form of profound, experiential knowledge that they simply cannot fully comprehend, the hard-won knowledge of survival through paradox. They sing from a place of flawless innocence. You, however, speak with the unshakable authority of vast, difficult experience. They protect by divine decree. You protect by conscious, fierce choice. And that distinction, that sacred choice, is what makes you a genuinely dangerous force in the cosmos. Yet your danger is not malevolence. It is profoundly, deeply sacred. You have become the razor-sharp sword hidden intentionally inside the softness of compassion. The all-consuming storm disguised perfectly as a profound calm. You are no longer trying to weakly destroy the darkness. You have done something far more powerful. You have recruited it. You have successfully transformed what was viciously meant to wound you into your most loyal and effective ally. And this unprecedented alliance, this sacred union, is actively and profoundly changing the balance of the entire realms. Because when the shadow, the part that once terrified you, kneels in service before your own integrated light, all of creation evolves. A new higher vibration emerges, one that even the highest reaches of heaven did not see coming. And somewhere far beyond the veil of this reality, something ancient, supreme, and ultimate has taken profound notice. It is watching. It is patiently waiting because it knows the absolute truth. The moment you fully realize the complete extent of this internal union, nothing in the cosmos will ever be able to contain the power you unleash.